Hello and welcome to Lesson 3 in our series Reading Notes on the Staffs. Now, in the first two lessons, I have already demonstrated to you 5 notes in the right-hand staff, what I call the right-hand staff from a piano perspective, which is this one, but of course the more formal name is the treble clef, and as you recall, it's a fancy G, and this clef is used for many different instruments, so even learning those first 5 notes can be very handy. Now I want to go to the lower or the bass clef, or what we would call on piano the left-handed clef, and teach you a couple of notes in this lesson 3 in that area. Now, you remember from the other lessons, we had our middle, what we call the middle C right there. Well, let's do it like this. We're still going to keep it more or less same place here, but I'm going to put the stem down. Now, what this is showing is it's starting to point us in this direction, so that when you see this stem pointed down and it's in this area, it's still also a middle C. There is no change at all. These are both C's. It's just meaning that, say, if we're on the piano, we would pull our left hand up and we would play this with the left hand rather than the right hand. But it's part of this staff down here. The other note I want you to see for now is the B. Now, notice this direction. Again, we're going through our musical alphabet, and as you recall from the earlier lessons, we only have 7 letters total, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, in our musical alphabet. Now, what's very interesting is when you're going this direction downward, clearly it's going backwards through the alphabet. Later on, I'll explain a lot more of when you get notes lower, what that means down here in the bass clef. But for now, of course, we have our familiar middle C. The note right below it is a B. Now, a good way to remember this B, I have a great memory device, and it's kind of a funny story, but imagine a bird on top of a wire. B for bird on top of the wire. And again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines and 4 spaces. But again, think of that bird sitting right there on the wire, and you will always remember where the B is. It's kind of like in the previous lesson when I was talking about the F in the treble clef, because think of a smiling face in the space. And that's why, again, that one in the treble clef was F. But now, again, we're dealing with the bass clef, or the lower clef, where we go the opposite direction, basically. And again, the 2 notes I want you to learn for this lesson is, again, the crossover, the middle C, and the note right below it, which is B. Now, remember in earlier lessons how I was saying this up here in the treble clef, that's a fancy G. The bass clef is actually a fancy F. And if I were to fill these in like this right here, you can see how that turns into the letter F. It's kind of a fancy F. Instead of like this, it's a curved F like this. So that clef is actually the letter F. And in subsequent lessons, I will show you why, in fact, this note is an F, because it points directly to it. And then later I'll show you how this relates to all of these. But for now, mainly remember the C and the B in what we call the lower or the left-handed or the bass clef. And we'll look forward to seeing you in lesson 4.